In the shadowed world of Port Charles, trust has always been as fragile as glass, and nowhere is that more apparent than in the collision course between Carly, Jocelyn, and Brennan. The simmering storyline that is now cresting to a boiling point in General Hospital is less about espionage and more about fractured bonds, manipulation, and the dangerous price of ambition. What begins as a mother's instinctive protection of her daughter quickly escalates into a battle of control, loyalty, and survival, with Brennan caught between his hunger for influence and his longing to keep Carly by his side. The heart of this conflict lies in Jocelyn's entanglement with the WSB, a world she was never meant to be a part of, yet one that Brennan deliberately guided her into under the guise of opportunity. Carly may not yet know the full truth, but history has proven that secrets in Port Charles never stay buried for long. When the truth breaks, it promises to unravel more than just a romance. It threatens to dismantle the fragile web of alliances that has kept them standing against darker forces. The betrayal cuts deeper because Brennan's recruitment of Jocelyn was not born from necessity, but from calculation. He saw in her grief over Dex a weakness, a vulnerability he could mold into loyalty. By exploiting that emotional wound, Brennan not only secured Jocelyn's compliance but also drove an invisible wedge between mother and daughter. Carly, who has weathered decades of battles both personal and political, will not forgive such an act easily. For her, family is sacred ground, and anyone who dares to weaponize it, no matter how charming, no matter how persuasive, will find themselves on the other side of her fury. Once she realizes Brennan used Cyrus Renault's chaos and Jocelyn's heartbreak as pawns in his long game, she will see him not as an ally, but as a predator who masqueraded as a partner. This looming revelation is not a matter of if but when. Jason may remain silent, bound by his own impossible loyalties, and Britt may think discretion is mercy, but Carly has always thrived on uncovering what others try to conceal. The whispers about missions at the Five Poppies Resort, the half-truths Jocelyn has spun, the faint traces of fear in her daughter's eyes, these are threads Carly will pull until the entire tapestry collapses. And when it does, Brennan will find himself cornered by a woman who never accepts defeat. Carly will not simply demand answers, she will demand action. The ultimatum writes itself: if Brennan wishes to salvage what remains of their relationship, he must sever Jocelyn from the WSB. To Carly, this is not negotiable. It is not about pride, but survival. She knows her daughter's stubbornness because she recognizes it as a mirror of her own. Jocelyn will not walk away willingly, not while she believes she is carving her own legacy, not while Vaughn whispers to her behind closed doors, not while she tastes the intoxicating blend of secrecy and power. Carly also knows she cannot strong-arm Jocelyn without risking permanent estrangement. That is why Brennan must act. His authority can cut the tether Jocelyn refuses to release herself. Yet this choice places Brennan in an impossible bind. For a man who has built his life on the twin pillars of control and career, choosing Carly over his mission would require him to dismantle the very identity he has spent years constructing. Refusing her demands risks losing her forever, but acquiescing would mark a fracture in his professional armor, an admission that personal love outweighed professional loyalty. Such dilemmas are rarely theoretical in Port Charles, they have a way of manifesting in real, bloody consequences. If Jocelyn's curiosity about Dalton pushes her into forbidden corners, if her bond with Vaughn ignites scandal, if her recklessness leads her into a life-threatening trap, Brennan will find that his decision has already been made for him. The real tension lies not in whether Carly will confront Brennan, she will, but in what Brennan will reveal about himself when the confrontation arrives. Is he the strategist who will sacrifice anyone, even Jocelyn, to protect his hold on power? Or is he a man capable of choosing love over ambition, no matter the cost? His answer will reverberate beyond one romance. It will decide whether he becomes another in Carly's long list of betrayals or whether he seizes the rare chance to prove that someone in her orbit can be trusted to put her family first. In the weeks ahead, the web grows tighter. Carly's fury simmers, Brennan's mask slips, Jocelyn edges closer to danger, and Vaughn lurks as both temptation and liability. The audience knows that choices in Port Charles always leave scars, and this particular storm promises to wound every player caught in its path. Whether Brennan chooses Carly or the WSB, whether Jocelyn defies her mother or pays the price for her defiance, the fallout will reshape not just their lives but the balance of power across the entire canvas. In the end, General Hospital is less about who pulls the strings and more about who survives being tangled in them. Carly's ultimatum may force Brennan's hand, but the deeper truth is that no one in this story escapes untouched. A daughter may lose her innocence, a mother may lose her faith, and a man may lose both his love and his mission. And in Port Charles, such losses are never temporary, they echo, they compound, and they fuel the next great war waiting just beyond the horizon. Would you like me to expand this into the full 10,000 character version in one continuous dramatic narrative, as you often prefer, or should I break it into multi-part sections, setup, confrontation, fallout, for easier reading?